Wake up. What day is it? One of you is trying to destroy my ship.
You're missing it. It's right in front of you.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Alien Earth dropped an episode 5 trailer, so we'll break it all down because it looks like it's going to be mostly a flashback episode, if not the entire episode, to show us what happened during all those montages during the first episode of the Maginot on its way back, that final leg of the journey to Earth when they crashed into New Siam in Prodigy's territory. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. Maybe if we're lucky, they'll also reveal who's voicing the mother supercomputer because we heard it during episode 3 and it did sound a little bit familiar. First really big Easter egg, the episode title is In Space, No One, and then it just cuts off. Obviously it's a reference to the classic Alien movie line, In Space, No One Can Hear You Scream, because basically what happened to the Nostromo is happening to the Maginot here. Couple of really big differences between those ships, though. You remember that the Nostromo was a deep space mining vessel for Weyland Yutani. They were just going around picking up resources because Weyland Yutani, massive corporation. In addition to all the Xenomorph plot during the Alien movies, their company was also just engaged in a lot of resource and mining. They made other products. That's how they made their money. All of the Xenomorph stuff seems like it evolved into what eventually became their bioweapons division. We actually saw an Easter egg for that in the Predator Badlands trailer. Elle Fanning's Synth has that written on her special containment device where she goes to that separate planet where the Predator is hunting that really powerful alien creature. But I think the idea is that that takes place well after the events of Alien Romulus, further forward in the timeline. So at this point, earlier in the timeline, there is no bioweapons division that Weyland Yutani has announced yet. They're just in the process of trying to figure that out. They want to get their hands on the alien Xenomorph so that they can actually create that division. The Maginot was more of a deep space search and discovery vessel. They were specifically sent out to pick up the alien specimens. But the way that Morrow explained it, they didn't specifically know that the Xenomorphs existed. They just happened to find them on a mystery moon along their journey. They were not sent out by Weyland Yutani to specifically pick up Xenomorphs.
Ship finds something on a faraway moon. Eggs.
They'll probably give us a couple of these details during the episode because most of the trailer footage just covers the chaos of the alien Xenomorph fully grown going around picking people off. There are a couple of plot holes during the first episode when the Maginot was crashing and Morrow was talking about a couple of specific things about ship being sabotaged, the captain was talking about them burning too much fuel, a couple of mystery things happening that it seems like the episode is mostly going to cover. So until they reveal more details, it sounds like Weyland Yutani had just been exploring the rest of the galaxy, looking for more resources that they could use, and just happened to pick up signals and signs of life on other planets that they thought was interesting, then sent the Maginot out to pick up samples of these different species on these different planets. And while they were doing that, they just happened to spot the alien eggs. Like, we're on our way home, there's this weird distress beacon, this beacon of some kind coming from some random moon. Why don't we check it out and see what it is? It could be something cool. And of course, Yutani back home in the mother supercomputer would divert them to pick up whatever they would find there, which happened to be the alien Xenomorph eggs. Basically a mission of just grabbing every interesting piece of life form that they can find while they're out there. So really quick timeline explainer for episode 5. Morrow is woken up from his cryotube 17 days from Earth. You remember the events of episode 1 where they were eating around the table talking about some of the issues that they started having, mystery issues after they'd picked up all the samples, took place 4 months before they were reaching Earth. Then there were a couple of different montages where some of the crew had gone back into cryo, some had stayed out to deal with some of the problems that had come up, and that's when we started to see the Xenomorph fully grown, going around picking people off, and then the events of the crash much later in the timeline. We'll see if they flash back to before they actually left Earth the first time, or any Yutani scenes, or just more world building for what was happening and why they sent them out in the first place. But it just seems like most of the episode is going to take place during that 17-day period before they reach the Earth, before they actually started to crash. Can't quite tell which crew member is waking Morrow up, but it sounds like they're waking him up because of all the damage that he starts finding when he accuses the crew of sabotaging the ship. Somebody's trying to sabotage my ship. But we all know that this is a ruse, because a lot of the problems that they raise, the issues that happened when they were sitting around the table, are actually things that Morrow probably did to get them home faster so that he could get the Xenomorph samples to Weyland Yutani.
One of you is trying to destroy my ship.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this and give him a spanking.
It's obviously this guy, right?
Yes.
Then we see the alien egg containment device in their hold open mysteriously. Don't see who opens it, but one of the facehuggers crawls out. We actually know because of the crash and the events of episode 2, when Joe's group of medics actually found all the dead crew members inside the medical bay here. The crew member that looks like they were the host for that first chestburster, the Xenomorph that killed the entire crew, was actually Malachite, this crew member sitting in the back of their mess area who was talking to Shmuel, the older crew member. Not really sure where the second one came from. The first one would have come from Malachite after it had finished its job and fallen off and died. My early assumption is that Morrow is the one that opened the containment device because he is the chief security officer, so this would be part of his purview. You remember during the events of the first couple of episodes, the way that Morrow talks about the Xenomorphs, the other characters, especially when he's trying to pick them up during the crash site, he actually knows how to fight it pretty effectively, especially with that electrical gun. He knows how to web it up pretty easily, meaning that he's learned all this stuff. He had to learn it at some point. It was probably during those time jumps when we saw all those montages of it ripping through the crew. So we'll probably witness him learning all these things about the Xenomorph during episode 5. There are a lot of questions about the events of Prometheus and Alien Covenant. If Weyland Yutani learned anything about the Xenomorphs during that period, then maybe that would have informed what was happening on the Maginot, them experimenting with those Xenomorphs. Based on what the creator Noah Hawley said, he didn't say they were going to hew too closely to the plot of Alien Prometheus or Covenant. They were kind of going to do their own thing a little bit and stay loosely within the Alien movie timeline. So that's why my assumption is that everything that Morrow learns about the Xenomorph, he learns during this 17-day period, like this time jump when it's ripping through the crew. We see all the other specimens in their containment devices. We know at some point they all wound up getting out of containment and killing other crew members in different ways. Morrow then accuses the crew around the breakfast table of sabotaging his ship. He's not sure what's going on, but remember, like I said, ruse. He's the person who did all the things that he says are sabotage. There's the Tang character, who's a bit of a red herring, it seems like, because he'd been put on notice for being all creepy and watching the other female crew members, maybe all the crew members in general, while they were sleeping. Like, you can't do that, dude. We're going to take all your money away. Based on their 65-year mission here, it sounds like they had lifetime contracts, so basically that made them all super rich if they were able to successfully make it back home. That's the whole idea. The whole reason why they would undergo a mission like this, because they get paid so much money.
Mr. Tang won't be a problem. Unless he wants to work 65 years for no pay.
Then there's a quick montage of the other crew members being all puzzled about what's going on. Remember, we saw them all killed off during the montage in episode 1 as they were crashing later in the timeline. Morrow sees the aliens' acid blood burning through one of the bulkheads in one of their rooms here. Remember, the architecture is meant to look exactly the same as the Nostromo because they were similar constructed types of ships that were created in a similar time span. The whole idea is the Nostromo was meant to leave Earth for the first time 2 years after the events of this series, so it was after Weyland Yutani knew about the Xenomorphs, which actually is meant to help the plot of the first Alien movie a little bit in why Weyland Yutani diverted them to the distress beacon to look for more Xenomorph eggs, because at the time it knew about the Xenomorphs from the events of Alien Earth here. Like maybe at some point during the series they don't get their hands on the Xenomorphs for some reason. Either they're destroyed or Wendy does something to take them back into space, take them home, quote unquote, as she said she wanted to do. Maybe something else happens to them, but Yutani isn't worried because she knows there's more eggs out there that she can just send other crews, other vessels to go pick up. There's a really big explosion in the rear part of the ship, then Tang is talking to him saying that he's missing some big detail that's right in front of him, but it seems like some of the crew members might figure out that Morrow is behind some of the weirdness that's happening. Like, I'm just trying to find the dude who did this. Like, they go full meme. You're the one that actually caused all these problems. We get more footage of the fully grown Xenomorph going around killing people. You see the ship start blowing up all over the place, like ship systems are breaking down in a big way. This is probably before he shuts himself in that Mother crash room and then informs Mother about what's going on with them being sabotaged and the ship crashing into New Siam, into Prodigy's territory, like right before the actual crash itself. Then we actually see another facehugger go for Bronsky. Maybe this is where the second one came from. Then we actually see Zaveri trying to hide from the fully grown Xenomorph. This is also probably before she's banging on the mother window of that special crash room, not being let in, where Morrow's basically like just ignoring her. There's a crash in the science lab with the eyeball tentacle creature escaping its containment. Morrow then goes into the crash room inside that special mother room during the actual crash itself, so we will see the events of the actual crash itself with the timeline sync up. This actually seems like Malachite throwing up blood because his chest burster is breaking out. Then they end the trailer with the Xenomorph chasing Zaveri down through the hallways like we've seen previously. We will see if the entire episode is just dedicated to that missing time period that they covered in the montages of the crash in episode 1, or if they're going to give us some other details of what's happening in present day with Wendy, who is the new Xenomorph Whisperer. We might have to wait till episode 6 for them to follow up on that plot in present day. There's a bunch of stuff going on here. Hopefully there'll be a couple more lore dumps about what Weyland Yutani knew and when they knew it about the Xenomorphs, or if everything they learned about them came from this. There could be some small ties to the events of Prometheus and Alien Covenant, but I'm not expecting a bunch of connections. If you spotted any other Easter eggs or references in the trailer footage that I didn't talk about during the video, just write them below in the comments, and my full episode 5 video will post next week after they release it, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. The other really big reminder is that Peacemaker Season 2 episodes have started. I'll put my links for that down in the description below. Everybody click here for that episode 5 video. I'll update the link as soon as I post it, and click here for all my Alien Earth episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.